Hello, sports fans and football fans, NFL football. In case you haven't heard, and a lot of you haven't, I'm doing picks every week, and this is going to be week 4. Now, last week I was 9-7. Again, I was 9-7 in week 1. I was 9-7 in week 3. And I believe I was 11 and whatever adds up to 17 after that. So in week 2. So yeah, I mean, I've had a pretty good year so far. Over 60% still, even though 9-7 itself isn't. I am over 60% on the year for 3 weeks. So anyway, with that having been said, we're going to get into the picks for week 4. And that's going to start with Thursday night's game. And Thursday night is going to be what I think is a pretty good matchup. It's going to be the Seahawks and the Cardinals. And I believe the Cardinals are at home. This game is in Arizona. So with that having been said, I am going to go with the Seahawks. We're picking the Seahawks in this one. The Seahawks look really good this year. The Cardinals they've looked pretty good, but they've had their hiccups, like when they were way out in front against someone in week 2. I forget who it was, but they allowed that team to come back. And almost, the Panthers. They were way ahead against the Panthers, and the Panthers almost came back on them. So anyway, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. I like how they look this year. And that gives us, we're going into Sunday's games. And first one we're going to talk about in Sunday's games are the Vikings and the Steelers. Now, in this one, I am going to go with the Vikings. Yes, the Vikings. The Steelers, to me, I mean, the steel curtain, where did it go? I mean, I think they just packed it up and took it out of town. So, and Rodgers, I mean, Rodgers is good, but you got to have a close game. And the Steelers are just, I don't think they're up to it. The defense is just not there. But the Vikings defense showed up last week, and so did Carson Wentz. So we're going to go with the Vikings there and Carson Wentz to beat up on the Steelers. Beat up on them. That's right, Mr. Bunch. I said it. They're going to beat up on them. The next game we're going to go to is the Falcons and the Commanders. Now, the Falcons didn't look very good last week and in the loss that they had. But the week before that, they looked pretty good. So we're going to say that. And remember, the Commanders possibly are still going with Mariota. Now, Mariota didn't look too bad last week, relieving Jaden Daniels. But with no real reason why, I am going to take the Falcons. I just got a feeling about this one. They did, by the way, put Kirk Cousins in last week's game. The Falcons did, that is. So it's not looking too bad of an idea, maybe, that they held on to him. And he might get some action this week. Maybe he'll even start. I don't know. The next one we've got is the Chargers and the Giants. And, yeah, we're going to go with the Chargers in this one easily. The Giants, they don't know what they're doing. I mean, they really should be playing someone that's not named Russell Wilson at quarterback. And, I mean, they do have other problems. But, you know, you've got Jackson Dart, and you want him to develop. He's not going to develop watching Russell Wilson. I mean, he's just not. So the Giants, they've got their issues. The Chargers definitely do not have too many issues. And so we're going to go with them. Now, here's a game that, I don't know. It's a pick'em. Who did I say? I think I said the Texans in this one. Yes, I did say the Texans. Now, the Texans are home in this game. And that's essentially the only reason I'm picking them. Because this is a very close game. It could go either way. And, of course, Tennessee, horrible. And I think I don't know where they went. But anyway, we're going to take the Texans in that game. So I got to make sure I don't back the chair up without looking. The next one we have the Buccaneers and the Eagles. Now, if you'll recall one week, maybe it was week 1, maybe it was week 2, I don't know. I said that I am not going to pick against the Eagles until they lose a game. And guess what? They haven't lost a game. But guess what? I'm still going to go with the Buccaneers in this one. We're going to take the Buccaneers, even though the Buccaneers have had a penchant this year for coming back the very last second and scoring the winning points. I would not recommend that against the Eagles, but who knows? I mean, whatever works, you do it. And the Eagles, let's face it, the Eagles just don't look that good. I mean, they really are unimpressive. They've barely won every one of their 3 games. They're 3-0, but they could be anywhere on the gamut from 0-3 to 3-0. They played a good game against Dallas and barely beat Dallas. They barely won last week, and they needed a blocked field goal on return by some big lineman that was running his butt off and probably needed oxygen afterwards. I mean, these things are not, they're playing basically like Kansas City did last year. They're just winning these games and, by a very small margins, and they're just not that impressive, not nearly as impressive as they should be. Next one we have is the Patriots and the Carolina Panthers. And yeah, we're going to get the Panthers out of here. We're going to go with the Patriots. The Patriots, they played a pretty good game last week against the Steelers. I was kind of impressed. I had taken the Steelers to win, though, and the Steelers did pull it out. But it was very impressive how the Patriots played. And I think Vrabel, week to week, he's getting to know the team better and better, and he's going to clean up the mistakes that they make. They do make too many penalties, and and sometimes make some stupid plays. But I think that Vrabel's going to clean that up, and I think the Patriots are a decent team, and we're going to pick them to win. Now, this one, no. The Saints are gone. We're taking the Bills over the Saints. I don't know what universe you would think of taking the Saints over the Bills. I mean, even if Josh Allen, God forbid, got injured on the very first play and they had to go with Trubisky, I think they would still beat the Saints. So, we're going to take the Bills big time. In fact, you can say that's my lock of the week. Now, I don't know what that means to anybody. I don't even really know what that means. But we're going to say that the Bills are the lock of the week to beat the Saints. That brings us to the Lions. The Lions, they had that opening week where they looked terrible against Green Bay. Absolutely terrible. But since then, they've just been beating people up. And so, kudos to the Browns last week for beating Green Bay, but you know what? That is not going to last. That's not sustainable. I mean, one could argue it's not sustainable for the Browns to win at all. But we are definitely going to go with the Lions. Lions in this one. I'm not going to throw the Browns because they beat Green Bay. So anyway, we're going to go next to the Jags and the minor 49ers. Now, the 49ers, they didn't look great last week. And it looks like, who is it? Mac Jones. Mac Jones, he got something happened to his leg. So is it even going to be Mac Jones playing this week? Is Purdy going to be playing this week? We don't know who the quarterback is, but we do know that the Jacksonville Jaguars have Trevor Lawrence, and they got that guy that they drafted, the two-way guy. Forget his name, but, it escapes me right now. I didn't write it down. I thought maybe I was prepared. But anyway, we're going to take the Jags over the 49ers. Mark that one down. I don't know why you would, but just do it. And now we've got the Rams playing the Colts. Now the Colts come into this one undefeated. They come into this one 3-0. And Daniel Jones has been great. But you know what? Yeah, you know what. The Rams are just fantastic. All right, they're not fantastic, but I am going to take the Rams to win this week. I think the Rams have a very good team, and I think the Colts have been doing it with a little bit of smoke and mirrors. They've been playing, like they played a marginal Tennessee team, Dolphins. They played a marginal Dolphins team. Well, they did play Tennessee too, I think, and calling the Dolphins marginal is like giving them way too much credit. So, I think it's been some smoke and mirrors with Daniel Jones and the Colts. So I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to beat the Rams. Now, the next one we got my Bears. The Bears. The Bears humiliated Dallas last week. I think it was like 34-15 or something. I mean, it was a beatdown. Now, I know it's Dallas, and Dallas has a terrible defense. We all know the story about the Dallas defense. But in this one, I'm going with the Bears. We're going to give the Bears another shot. We're going to give them another chance. Because last week, I picked Dallas in that game. I mean, I knew Dallas's defense was questionable. I just didn't know how questionable. And it was. So we're going to take the Bears to beat the Raiders. And that brings us to two very disappointing teams this year, the Ravens and the Chiefs. Both teams have only one win in their first three. The Ravens, believe me, I know the Ravens have a terrible defense, and I didn't expect that because I have their defense in fantasy football, and it's killing me. But if you saw Mahomes playing last week for Kansas City, you know he was terrible. All right, maybe he wasn't terrible. I mean, to call Mahomes terrible, I think, is going out on a bit of a skinny limb. But their offense is just not what it used to be. So in this one, it's tough. But I'm going to give the slight edge here, and I'm going to say that the Ravens will come through and win this one. Not, that confident about it, but that's the pick I'm going to make. And now we got Green Bay and Dallas. Goodbye, Dallas. So, we're going to take Green Bay to beat Dallas, even though they couldn't beat the Browns. Remember, this is the team that couldn't beat the Browns. But I think they're going to beat Dallas because Dallas has a sieve of a defense, and even Jordan Love can, pick that defense apart. Next one we got is the Battle of the Basement in the AFC East, and that's going to be the Jets and the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins are home in this one, and that's about all that really gives them an edge in my mind because both teams are terrible. Although the Dolphins did play well against the Bills. They played fairly well. I don't know that we've seen that from the Jets yet. So we're going to go with the Dolphins. I'm going with the Dolphins at home over the Jets, and that brings us to the Monday night matchup, and that's going to be the Broncos and the Bengals. And, I thought that dude that took over at quarterback for the Bengals, forget his name, sorry, just escapes me. I thought he was decent. But apparently, I was wrong. The dude has an interception problem that's off the charts. And the Broncos are a solid team, so we're going to take the Broncos in this one. Now, the Bengals, they got 2 wins. I think they have 2 wins on the year, so we're not gonna throw them. But sometime in the future, without Burrow, you got to feel like they're going to get thrown. So anyway, those are my picks. Leave your picks in the comments. I would love to hear what all you guys think. What do you disagree with me on? What do you agree with me on? Do you think I'm just way off base on some of these? But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Sportsman Z, Bob Zuhlke, signing off.